That total just seems too damn low. Explain why.
Yeah, this is one of those, two ugly teams, so we get a lower total. And I think the over's the play here at 39 and a half. I'm fine with here. So I went over 39 this morning. I also played Kelvin Ridley. You talked about it, over 63 and a half yards going
Yep.
against the Jacksonville Jags. Worst pass defense in the league. Third Titans receiver over the last 2 decades to have 7 receptions and 3 touchdowns and have 30 plus yards in a single season. The other, A.J. Brown in 2019, and DeAndre Hopkins. And he has a 37% target share. So I do like his props. I always fade the Jags defense. This has been a thing really since week 2 with this man defense. They're terrible, man. 32nd against the pass by DVOA. I know Will Levis wasn't really able to take advantage a few weeks ago. I'm not the biggest Mason Rudolph fan, but I do think he's a slight upgrade over Will Levis. So I'm going to go over 39 and a half. I think this could be a sneaky shootout. I don't think it's going to be a very good game, but I like Kelvin Ridley props, and I like the over in the game.
Yeah, pew, pew, pew. Indeed, could be a sneaky shootout. I'm kind of with you there. I think this game could be in the 20s quite comfortably in the end. So 39 and a half seems like dangling fruit off the branch. So pluck that low hanging fruit, to say the least, and consume it hopefully profitably. Let's go to the player prop mark, and let's go to one of the hottest wide receivers in the NFL. He is hotter than the damn sun right now. A guy that's exhibiting all kinds of Kelvin, and that is one Brian Thomas. Give me the over on 77.5 receiving yards. And I tell you what, I would ladder this sucker. Take it to 80, take it to 90, take it to 100 as well. I think all are on the table to him to hit, much like with Bucky Irving and rush yards, right? Brian Thomas could do this yet again because he's got vacuum hands right now. He's just sucking up all the balls that are coming his way from one, the Miggity, Mac, Daddy, jump. And that is one Mac Jones, him and Brian Thomas really establishing a nice little rhythm there in Duval County. So on the standard line of the over 77.5 receiving yards, Thomas has done this in 4 of his last 5. He's got 49 total targets over the last 4 weeks. That is absurd. Number 11 in total air yards in the season. Number 4 in total yak. Number 11 in yards per route run. Number 17 in total route wins. Brian Thomas, somebody is probably going to get picked in like round 2, maybe round 3 of 12-team fantasy drafts next season. And, another year goes by, we could be talking about him possibly the top 10 picks overall that following year. He has been money in the bank. I don't think we're going to see any kind of sophomore slump out of him. He has delivered the goods across all fronts on really a lousy team. And you look at Tennessee, equally lousy, number 20 in pass EPAD over the last 5. Only 6 wide receivers have gone over 77.5 receiving yards against them, and Thomas was not one in the earlier season matchup. In fact, you look at Tennessee, they've allowed the second fewest wide receiver yards on the season. So why do I really like Thomas? Based, not on, just on the recency bias, but also the fact his primary mano-a-mano matchup projected is going to be Jarvis Brownlee. Why is that important? Well, look over the last 5 weeks. Brownlee has given up an 82.1% catch rate. Yikes. And the 12th most yards of any defensive back in the NFL. Number 224 yards to be exact during that span. Also giving up close to 115 passer rating to his assignment. So put all together, Brian Thomas, make me some bank, baby, on the over. 77.5 receiving yards at a minus 115 juice. And again, I like laddering him this week. Must start material in fantasy leagues. Don't you dare fire off a question at me at thegamingjuice.com. Be like, Brian Thomas or this guy? I'm just telling you right now, blanket statement, Brian Thomas needs to be in your lineup based on that matchup against Jarvis Brownlee alone. All right, with that game on the back burner, let's move on to the next game. Miami, Cleveland. All right, Miami laying 6.5, and this one over under of 39. It's balmy here in the Midwest. I think I stepped outside today. It's a little bit of rain here in Central Illinois, but temps in the low 50s, and game time temps, I believe in Cleveland, are going to be like in the upper 40s or low 50s. So any precip, if it does fall, is going to be the liquid variety. It's not going to be overly breezy. That's the initial forecast right now. And usually, weather is always dicey on this part of the country. And during this time of the year, it's late December. A lot of people expecting the frozen precipitation, the snowfall. We've already seen that with some of the lake effect earlier this year there in a primetime game in Cleveland, but that's not really going to play a factor here. But Miami, they got to get a win here to get some of their season back. Cleveland way out of it. We don't know if it's going to be Jameis Winston, DTR at the controls. It really doesn't matter. They're rubbish. So again, Dolphins lane 6.5, 39 side total player prop SGP. What, my friend, is your favorite play?
Yeah, so I'm waiting on this one. So I like the Dolphins in this game as like a teaser option, maybe a money line parlay piece. I just don't really want to lay 6.5 with Miami, especially if there is weather, right? But I can't make the case for the Browns. DTR looked bad again last week. Historically, he's one of the worst starting quarterbacks in NFL history, and it didn't get much better last week. Completed 58% of his passes for 157 yards, threw 2 picks, and that was against the Bengals defense, one of the worst in the league. Now, he's going against Miami. Even if it's not DTR, it's Jameis Winston. I'd feel better about Jameis, or it's Bailey Zappi. So I like Miami, but I just don't love the number. I like Tyreek Hill to score a touchdown finally in this game, but then he popped up on the injury report. So let's see if he's able to go, if he's 100%. So while we wait for that, I like Tua pass attempts. I played this at 31.5. You're going against this Browns defense who's been a huge letdown compared to what we saw last year. The pass defense, 26 against the pass, DVOA. So as long as the weather holds up, Miami should have enough success. I just wish they could get that ground game going, man. Then I'd feel better about some like A-Chan props. But right now, just over 31.5 pass attempts on Tua. But I might end up using this as a teaser leg. I want to see what this weather looks like. And I also kind of want a better idea of who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Browns. Does look like it'll be TTR. Don't feel good about Cleveland in that situation.
Yeah, DTR is just trash. But I take all that back if he's checking down left, right, and almost on every other down because vroom, vroom, I'm revving the engine on Jerome Ford. Even Chevy guys would agree that this number is too low. 18.5 receiving yards, tied to the starter for the Cleveland Browns. Remember, Nick Chubb on IR with that broken foot. And Ford really, showed up and balled out in the pass game last week. He played over 80% of the team snaps, ran 20 routes, had 5 targets, caught all 5 of them for 39 yards. He's gone over 18.5 receiving yards in 4 straight games, and I think the 5th straight is going to happen. Miami, decent, number 14 in pass EPA defense over the last 5 weeks, but the Dolphins have allowed the 12th most running back receiving yards per game at 35.5. A dozen running backs have gone for at least 19 receiving yards. And chances are Cleveland's going to be dealing with a deficit in this game in the second half. So it could be a whole bunch of dump offs, high percentage throws from DTR in the short to intermediate field to Jerome Ford. And again, he's going to peel out and get well north of 18.5 receiving yards. So that's a minus 110 juice here at BetMGM. I am certainly a buyer